Hey guys, I am going to walk you through our first full unit study of the year. We're really excited about it. It's the Space Unit Study by Gather Round Homeschool. I chose this unit maybe a month or 2 months ago, knowing that we wanted to do this unit and started to sort of prepare for it then, but it's really not necessary to do that. I just do that so that like along the way, I don't feel like I have to rush or feel pressure to like spend extra money on things because I feel like I'm being last minute, but so that I can sort of just, choose things as I go and prepare that way. So before I start talking to you guys about like how we'll go about it and the materials and how I select them and all of those things, is I want to say you don't have to plan this far in advance, especially with Gather Round, which is why I like it. Let me give you an example. If I decided today I wanted to start space, I'm like, we're home today, it's Martin Luther King Day, and I really just want to start a new unit, but I have nothing prepared. I could go on the Gather Round website, choose any one of the units, buy the digital copies and have them within seconds and get started that day, like print it out, or if I have binders, like I use binders because it was just easier and cheaper for me that way. I like for them to be able to take out the pages and stuff like that. And it just saves a lot of money for us anyway. I know people have found really great ways for printing, but for us, this just works. And the kids are happy with it, so it just keeps it simple for me, being a busy mom. Like I'll click print on one of them and then I'll fold laundry or whatever I need to do. So I just wanted to put that out there, that it is open and go. You could literally buy this today and start your first lesson today and have no, like anything that you need to get, and it's super fun. And then you could download the app and you have a whole bunch of videos that you could pull for each lesson that are already there for you in the app. I like to screencast the teacher's guide to my TV. So a lot of times we'll like hang out on the couch and I'll go through the lesson that way. I also like it because I can jump in and out of the app and the teacher's guide to put videos in between like different parts of the lesson to just sort of break it up, and having it on the big screen and being comfy like really helps with that. So sorry about that noise if that's annoying. That's my kids practicing their skateboarding in the basement. So yeah, real life over here. I told them I would give them free time before we start. So yeah, basically what I do is I purchase the unit and then I'll take a look at like the table of contents. And this tells us like exactly what each lesson topic is going to be. And then it just gives me an idea of things that I might want to pick up along the way. Also, it's amazing, and I didn't print this out just because I don't print out things that I don't need, just to save time, but it comes with a book list for each level. So another thing that I really like about Gather Round is that you can teach all of your kids together, and that's something I was really looking for. And I'll talk more about that in a different video, but it was really important to me that we are doing this together, and it's something that brings us together, because that was one of the main reasons that I chose to homeschool them, is because I didn't want them to go in with all the unknowns with COVID. And I also didn't want, especially my middle schooler, to be on the computer all day long, or definitely not my kindergartner or my fourth grader, but I knew that they wouldn't be required to be on as long, whereas my middle schooler would need to be on there all the time. And we're a big family. We have a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old as well. So it just would not work for people to need to be on like Zoom meetings all day. And then be doing assignments online and all of that, and just be really separated. And I've heard like so many stories of other families being like, they're home together, but like one's on one side of the house and one's on the other, so that they can hear, and their Google Meets, and when they unmute, and so that they have, their Wi-Fi is not interfering, and all of those things. So those things were all like considerations when I decided to homeschool this year for our first year. So I'll go through the book list and I'll choose at least a few books from each level that they're in. So, and then sometimes the other levels, because like my 13-year-old likes to hear me read picture books, and my kindergartner will hang out and listen while we're reading like a longer book, like a chapter book, as a read aloud. So I just kind of select the ones that I think are really interesting. And then I get as many as I can from the library. So my first line of defense is I get on my library website and I type in any of the ones that I want, and sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't, and I order as many as I can that way. And then if there's one I really just feel like I have to have, then I will order it off of Amazon or whatever if it's cheap enough. But I try not to spend a ton of money on books or extra materials. So I will show you guys some of the things that I've purchased, and then also the library stuff, and then stuff that we just already happen to have that it's like you pull it for the unit and it seems like a brand new thing for them. So that's pretty cool too. What else? I think that's all I wanted to tell you ahead of time. Another thing that I did is like for Christmas, when family members were asking like what can we get them, they know that I don't love like a ton of toys and things like that. So I'll tell them like our first unit after Christmas is space, so if you want to get them anything space themed, so like we had that smaller telescope, but one of my aunts got them the bigger telescope, and then somebody else got them like a space puzzle for my 2-year-old, which I'll show you, and then like some t-shirts, which I'll also show you. So it's a pretty cool way to start to like gather things. And like I said, because I knew that I was doing this ahead of time, like I happened to be in Marshall's one day and I saw that they had these really cute like space activity books for $3, and they have like, you know, cut out and put together like models of a spaceship and the International Space Station, and just like fun hands-on things that are like no prep craft things, because I'm not the craftiest person, but I'm trying to do better. But especially for my kindergartner, because I know kindergarten is really hands-on. I am a high school English teacher. I'm teaching virtually currently, and I am an English teacher and a teacher of teens by heart. So I have to like stretch myself a little bit to make sure that there's you know, age appropriate activities for my elementary age students. All right, so I'm gonna show you some of the stuff that I have prepared for them and where you can find some of this stuff. Okay, so one thing that I'll try to do is I do like a big display like this the first day of every unit just to get them excited about it. They literally come down like it's Christmas every time. So that's one thing that I think is like really cool. It gets them really excited to like get their hands on some of this stuff and learn about the new unit. So one thing that I do is, this is where like they would come in the kitchen, and my 2-year-old is not usually the last one up, so I don't want him to mess everything up. So I'll try to put things that like he can grab. Like this puzzle is definitely for him. It's a very simple like solar system puzzle, and you know, he got this for Christmas, which was really cool. And then there's like this pop-up book that I got from the library, which is really fun, that he can definitely touch. And there's some, I found these on Amazon for like $1.99. They're actually really nice stickers, and they're actually pretty accurate pictures. So that's really cool. And he can grab those and play with those if he wants. This picture book someone actually gave to us a while back, and it's really nice, like big cartoon style illustrations. So this is like really cool for him and for my 5-year-old. This is like a cheaper book that I think I got at the dollar store one time when we were like going away on a trip, and usually I'll grab like a bag of stuff at the dollar store for them just to keep them like interested in new things. And this was like perfect for this unit, and also like not a book that I'm super concerned about if he like plays with and messes up at all. This is a telescope that we've had for a while that, to be perfectly honest, I'm not even sure if it works, but I have it here so that my 2-year-olds and my 5-year-olds can sort of play around with that one while my bigger boys are using this. It's a beginner level one, but it's not a toy one, if that makes sense, where the other one I think is a little bit more of a toy one. So this will be for my 13-year-old and my 9-year-old to like really try to figure out how to use. And my 13-year-old just got his first phone for his birthday, so it has a way to hook up your phone. I'm not really sure how that works yet, but we'll figure it out. I also want to talk to you guys about these printables because they're absolutely beautiful. They're watercolor. They're by Green Urban Creative, and it's a solar system pack. I got them on Etsy, but she's also on Instagram, and it has constellations, it has the planets, and then it has the moon phases, so they're really beautiful. And then these full page versions come with it as well. So like here's the solar system one, Here's the constellation one. And I put the constellation and the moon ones in these frames from Target. I think they're 3 for $10, which would have been perfect. I don't know where my third one is because I didn't buy them for this, but I would have had the perfect amount. But I did use them for the phases of the moon and the constellation ones. And it just really lends to a nice display. You can also put them on the wall. You can also take the little stand off and lay them flat if you want to do like a flat lay setup for them in any way. Okay, some other stuff. This highlights came in. It just so happened to be the January version or the January copy. And I was like really excited. I put it away as soon as I saw it come in the mail so I could use it for this unit. This looks like a really beautiful book, You Are the Moon, so I'm really excited about that. So like the day that we do the moon in the unit, we'll focus mostly on that. This book, Night Wonders, is poetry about the night sky. So we'll do a poetry tea time and we'll use that. This book called The Spacesuit is about a seamstress who helped with the man on the moon. So I feel like that's like another really cool connection that we might not think about. This is a planetarium projector that I got from Target. I got it for them for Christmas and it's really cool. It has the different discs that you can put in it and project it on the ceiling. So we're really excited. We've played around with it a little bit, but we'll use the cartridges to actually study like the different planets. Like I'm thinking that night that we study Jupiter, we'll put in the cartridge for that, like at our family time, and turn the lights low and check it out. This is another poetry book. This is really beautiful. It has really, really beautiful images in here, I thought. There was one that I was looking at last night that I thought was really cool, like the moon phases one. So the day we do the moon, we'll also use this. So we'll put together, like I'll have this laying out that day and I'll probably do this as a read aloud that day. And then these are more of the moon phase cards from the Green Urban Creative pack. Those up there are just, the words are in print and here they're in cursive. So I'll use these as like a kind of sort of like review or almost like hands-on game to see if they can put them in order without using that and without looking up there. So that would just be like a fun little activity. What else? Oh, this solar system set. I saw this on the Gather Round Facebook homeschool page. Someone mentioned that they got this kit at Five Below, and I didn't really want to go out shopping because I'm still trying to be kind of careful. The numbers are still rising with COVID. We're in New York, so I didn't think Five Below did things online, but they do. So I was able to get this for $5, and I think I did have to pay almost $5 for shipping, but I still feel like it'll be fun and worth it. It has some like glow-in-the-dark paints in there, so I think you paint some detail on those planets. It has the glow-in-the-dark stars, and it is considered a STEM activity, so I'm really excited to check that out. I also wanted to make sure that people of color were represented in our study. I always make sure that I do that. My 3 oldest children are children of color, and even if they weren't, I want to make sure that everyone is represented. So I saw this really cool book called Nerdy Babies Space, and this is just a fun book for the younger ones that I'll do like as a read aloud, probably with everyone, but definitely with them. Here's a picture book of Hidden Figures, so I'm really excited about that because we'll also watch that movie during this unit. And then also I have the full book Hidden Figures for my 13-year-old so that he can actually read the whole book. Unless they talk me into a read aloud, which I'm totally not going to be fighting him on. This is the Young Readers Edition, but it still is like grade level challenging for an 8th grader. So pretty excited about that. I got this one for either a read aloud or for my 4th grader, Gloria Rising. So this looks like a really sweet book as well. It does have some pictures, which I thought was pretty cool. This is just Magic Treehouse Fact Tracker. So this is about space. This one was really cool. This is Mae Jemison, the first African-American woman in space. I also realized that our space unit would be overlapping with Black History Month. So I also wanted to make sure that we were really doing a good job with that. This is Women in Space. This is a book all about women in space. This is Astronauts in General. And then this is a book that someone gave us a long time ago that's, it's kind of an old book that I'm excited about. It's a National Geographic, which is pretty cool. So we'll take a look at that as well. We have Space, the Visual Encyclopedia. This is probably my favorite book on the table just because of how beautiful it is, and I'm a really visual person. So this one they got for Christmas, not this year, but last year, and we haven't really used it much. I'm kind of embarrassed to say. But this came with the star finder and glow-in-the-dark stickers, and I did put the stickers away because I didn't want the little ones to get their hands on them. I want the older kids to be able to use them because older kids still like stickers. It came with this really cool night sky star finder as well, so I'm really excited to play around with that with them. But look at how beautiful this book is. It's absolutely beautiful. It has so much information in here. It's just a really great living book for learning about all things related to the night sky. So I really like the living books theory of just like learning through reading books and not using textbooks. Whoops. That may or may not stay up. Okay. This I thought was really cool too, especially for my 13-year-old, kind of as like an intro to physics, because we talked about like how physics is related to space and all of that good stuff. So I thought this was like a really like accessible, like non-intimidating intro to physics. This is just a kid's book of the night sky. So this one looks really fun too. This was just one that I saw come up when I was searching space books. This is a National Geographic that before I subscribed, someone gave us. So I put that away, knowing that we'd be doing space. These two are really cool. These are both all about like activities and labs. So I'll let the boys actually choose from these and like just sift through and choose labs that we want to do, and then have them see if they can figure out like, do we have what we need, what we need to get, all of those things. This is just like a pocket guide, a fields guide. We used one similar when we did like our tree study and our bird study, so they're familiar with using those. This one is about the first American woman to walk in space, so that looks really fun. And then I guess, oh, this one looks really cool too. This one is called Gravity. And this one has beautiful illustrations, not a lot of words, which is kind of like a fun switch up. Galileo for kids, I also thought would be really cool. It's about his life and his ideas, but it also has 25 hands-on activities. So I'm excited to check this out too. So also a really beautiful book with pictures and illustrations and experiments. So that's pretty awesome. This right here we'll do every day. This is a beautiful book by Louis Giglio, and it's called Indescribable, 100 Devotions About God and Science. And many of them are about the sky and about space and stars and planets. And so we'll do one of these every day before we start. And I'll stick with just the ones that are related to space, and I'll save the other ones like for when we do human body, because there's ones about the human body, and for when we do earth science, because there's a lot about the earth. So you can see on this page, it shows you, or when we do animal studies, I'll kind of keep those to relate to the unit. And then here I'll do a quick little flip through so you can see the differences. But they got some t-shirts for Christmas when family members knew that we would be doing space, so I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm gonna show you a quick little flip through for lesson 1 so you can kind of see what it looks like. So this also tells you like the materials you'll need for each unit, so that's really cool. Or for each lesson. This is the introduction, and so this focuses on like space overall. It information about the telescope. There's information about astronomy. So this is where I'll pull some of the books out about astronomers. There's always like nice visuals, which I really like because I'm definitely a visual learner. The history of astronomy. So this focuses a lot on astronomers. And then it'll give you a day at a glance to show you like what each student is doing in their notebook or their binder that day. And as you can see, there's more as the levels go up. So really cool. They do geography in there. They do art. So it's really pretty cool. They do a Bible verse. So then to just kind of show you what they do for my pre-reader or my kindergartner, it also gives you the scope and sequence of what she'll learn. So she will be coloring, doing some sight word practice, and then some narration for me, and I'll either write or she'll draw. So she's screaming in the basement, so hopefully everything's okay. I also found these space-themed solar system pencils at like the Target dollar spot a while back. So for my 4th grader, just to show you kind of what he'll be doing for lesson 1. Again, scope and sequence a little bit longer. There's a reading log. So this is his notebooking page, so he'll take some notes here about a few of the things in the unit. Then he'll have like a reading and some comprehension questions. Then he'll have some scripture copy work and some spelling work, which is pretty cool. And lastly, not actually lastly, but second to last, he'll have some mapping work. So that's really cool. And then finally, some art. And he's my artist, so he'll love that. For my middle schooler or my 8th grader, for his lesson 1, you can see they all have the table of contents, the scope and sequence. His notebooking page is similar, but he'll have to do some research. Then his reading is just a little bit longer and his questions are a little bit more complex. And then his copy work, he'll have to actually look up that verse and write it down here. And then very similar mapping. So like I'll have them work together so they can kind of get that feel of being with a partner. I'll have them work together on that. And then I'll also have them show my kindergartner what they learned on the globe to kind of make that connection for her. And then again, art to finish up lesson 1. One more thing I do want to mention, as much as I love Gather Round, you don't have to use Gather Round either. So say you're like, I don't have like the $50 or whatever it is to buy the digital unit. Like for me, it's worth it because it gives me like the bones or the framework for how I'm going to plan out everything else. So it gives me like a starting point. And like I said, if I don't have time or whatever, something happens and I don't have time to like plan other things, I know that I have something like every day, 20 lessons. So we usually do 4 lessons a week, and then Fridays we keep for like things we didn't get to or fun things like poetry tea time, which I'll show in another video. Or like, an art project or a field trip or something like that. So you don't have to use Gather Round, but I really like it. You could make this pretty much free if you just use your library. You can even, I know a lot of libraries will do a thing where you just tell them a theme or topic and they'll pull a bunch of books from you. So that's a huge time saver. If you're not trying to find specific books, you could call them and they can put together like a whole lot of books. And then there are so many free printables online that you can find, and maybe they might not be like the ones that you like love the best, but your kids will love them and it'll be fine. So if you don't have any money to spend at all, you could still totally do this. And it will still be really fun and your kids will really love it. Like you can do things like paper mache planets, and you can get paint from the dollar store and draw, or paint the solar system. Like there's so many things you can do. You can get the little pom-poms and make planets that way. Like I would easily say you could do this for $0 if you already have like crayons and colored pencils and a little bit of paper. You could do it for $10 if you wanted to grab 10 things from the dollar store to make it really fun. And you could easily spend hundreds of dollars if you want to get like totally crazy and you have the budget to do that. So I just wanted to put that out there, that as much as I love Gather Round and I highly recommend it, especially if you're teaching more than one child and it's really important to you that you do things together, you don't have to purchase any curriculum at all, really, and you can put things together. It might take you a little bit more time, but it's definitely doable. There's tons of videos out there that are free, so it's definitely doable to not buy any curriculum at all. So I just wanted to put that out there. Seti, what do you think? Do you want to look at that book? Wow, that's a cool book, huh? That's a rocket ship. That's an astronaut. Astronaut. That's a robot. What do you think? Do you like it? So one thing that I want to make sure that I mention and not just like quickly skip over, I did mention like the devotion book that we'll do every day. But I really want to make sure that I would feel like I'm not giving you the missing link. If I didn't say that we make sure that God is at the center of everything that we do in our family. Not just like we have prayer time or, you know, we listen to worship music or we do a devotion and then we have like other parts of our lives that are separate. Like all those things are interwoven into what we do as a family. So I think it's really important to just make sure that I mention that and just kind of share with you an example of how we kind of weave that into what we're learning. That isn't the only time that we, you know, talk about God, obviously, and listen to worship, but we also try to do it in a way that goes along with what we're learning. So with space, it's a really great opportunity to do that because it talks a lot about, you know, the night sky and the planets and the universe. And one thing that I really do like about Gather Round is it's a Christian worldview. So that's already built in. There's also there's already scripture and stuff, but we don't limit ourselves to just that. So for example, the kids right now for our first day, we're not even doing lesson 1. Today is really the only day that I'll have everything out like I showed you today. And they're just having the opportunity to like explore and engage with all the materials. And then I'll pull like select things out on any given day, and they'll also have access to all the books. But everything won't be out every single day, obviously. On my kitchen table, there'll just be like certain things pulled for them. So today's just a day for them to be able to like explore and get excited about things, and not really have to do any quote unquote work. But what I'll have them do to kind of finish up that time with space in just a few minutes is we'll come in the living room and we're going to listen to and watch, because I'll pull it up on YouTube on my smart TV, So Alive by Hillsong Worship. And it's a song that talks about like, you know, the sky and kind of how creation worships God. And basically the whole idea of the song is like, you know, if creation worships you, so will I. So it's like a really beautiful song, and it definitely connects to this unit a lot. And then it's just also really cool that the first devotion in this book, and we've done a few of these here and there, like when we were studying like the Asia unit, there was stuff with like Mount Everest and different things in here that connected to what we were learning, volcanoes and stuff like that. So we've done a few of them, but I've been waiting for space because there are a ton of them on space. And this first one, although it doesn't seem like it's quite about space, this first devotion in this book is called A Blank Page. And the scripture is in Genesis about where God says, let there be light. And it also talks about like the whole universe, showing God's creativity. So we're going to start with that one. And then just as like a sneak peek, this just ends up being really cool that lesson 1 in Gather Round is about astronomy and astronomers. And the second Devo in here, there's like, I didn't read it yet, but there's already a picture about, you know, with astronauts in space. The other thing that we'll do is, there's a video that is about, I haven't watched it yet, but I also saw this come up, I think on the app or on the Gather Round Facebook page, there's a video that basically shows, and you can hear, like it's mostly, I think you hear the stars singing. So it's really interesting in thinking about like creation, worshiping God. So we'll do that. And then that's really it for space today, other than just like exploring, doing a little Devo and worship time, and then watching that cool video. And that'll be pretty much it for today for us for exploring space. Guys, do you want to add anything?
Yes.
No.
My cat and my dog. I real cat and my dog. I just did up. I'm joking.
So Jackson, looks like you're looking at the Hidden Figures picture book. So that's pretty cool.
Me and my doggy are looking at
The physics.
a pop-up book.
Cool. I knew you would like that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the card. What is it? A cartoon guide.
Yeah, cartoon guide to physics.
Mommy, show me and my doggy and my cat.
So are you reading your dog and your cat the pop-up space book?
Yeah, this is
That's
my cat.
pretty cool.
My cat. And
Nice.
I have a dog.
Cool.
It's Sky. I love her.
All right, guys.
I'm reading them.
So hopefully you found this like a little bit helpful, just in like seeing and hearing about how you can put these units together. I just want to reiterate that you can do as much or as little with this as you want, all the way from like well beyond what I do. Some people do way more art projects and hands-on activities, and you can go places. And if it wasn't COVID, I would definitely be bringing them to a planetarium. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out and let me know. I'm happy to like help you talk through anything. I love talking about books. I love talking about learning, putting things together. So yeah, definitely let me know if there's things that you've done with space or with planning unit studies that you found helpful that I might want to try, because I'm always interested in learning more. So hopefully I'll see you guys soon.